At this time, we'll call the regular scheduled Bladen County Board of Education meeting to order. At this time, we'll ask Mr. Edwards if he will lead us in the invocation.
Let's pray. Dear Lord, dear Jesus, give us the wisdom, the knowledge to make proper decisions for this county, for the students, staff. Help us move forward. Give us the glory. Give us everything you can to make proper decisions. In your heavenly name we pray. Amen.
Amen. At this time, we'll ask Mr. Rhoda to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd like to recommend to the board that we amend tonight's agenda and combine action items 8.1 and 8.2. Whatever.
Motion to approve.
We got a motion, we got a second, any discussion? The question was, because they're of the same entity, we can discuss both under the same action item. Because they're both options. Any other discussion? All those in favor by signifying by saying aye. Aye. All opposed. Motion carries. At this time, we would ask for the adoption of the consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, if I could quickly, so that was a motion to amend the agenda.
Yes,
Now there
sir.
needs to be a motion to approve the
To approve,
agenda
that's right.
as amended.
I apologize. Can we get a motion on the floor to approve the amended agenda? I got a second. Any discussion?
My discussion on that is, we just say that when we make a decision tonight in this meeting, as to what we're gonna do with one building, that results to the other building as well?
Well, we can vote on both. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I can understand that, but I know that there's two closed schools, but they are, if you read your notes, they are, parts that apply to one that don't apply to the other. So it would be kind of hard to vote on both of them at the same time and expect the same to be able to do the same thing when the other one has not expressed that concern.
Right. I mean, I think the idea is to have discussion on both, and then as the board, we'll make a decision whether we want to, on which option we want to take.
I understand what the discussion is, Mr. Chair, but once again, there's part to one that does not apply to the other. There's expressed concern to one that does not apply to the other. So if we make a decision on one, my question again, when we make a decision on one, does that relate to both of them?
Well, we will discuss both options, sir. Yes, sir.
But then we need to discuss both items.
Right, inside the combination. I've got a second. I've got the discussion. All those in favor by adopting the amendment? Say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we'll ask for a approval of the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Have a second. All those, any discussion?
Yes. How much, are we trying to make money off renting these buildings to these people?
We'll talk about that when we get to those action items, Mr. Rhoda.
Okay.
We're trying to adopt the consent agenda at this moment.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. I think, school, renting the buildings is in that consent agenda, isn't it?
No, sir.
It's not in there?
No, sir.
Talking about the fee, Mr.
Ask-
Rhodes, the fee schedule? I think he's talking about the fee schedule for the.
You talking about the
facilities.
fee schedule, Mr.
Yeah,
Rhoda?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the ones for the listed for 26, 27. There's no change on those from 25, 26. That's the same rates. There's no change in, recommended change in those.
Is that what your question is, Mr. Rudder? You,
Yeah, why are we charging so much?
I think when we went to the originally on fee schedule, we did the, we had to figure for utilities, for staffing, and, you know, deposits refundable, obviously, when everything is, as everything is checked and done. But again, we just, it's a carryover from previous year. Just the policy requires the board to adopt that schedule every August. But we do try to work with folks on that as much as we can, Ms. Brown's office, on the, you know, fee schedule.
so we have a motion and a second. We've had discussion. Is that correct? All those in favor by signifying by approving tonight's consent agenda, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Motion carries. At this time, citizen participation, we have three folks that have signed up. At this time, I'll have Dr. Atkinson to cover the policy, and then Mr. Joseph Dixon, you'll be first up, sir.
And thank you, Chairman, Secretary, and board members. According to Board Policy 2310, the first part of each, at least one regularly scheduled board meeting was set aside for citizens to address the board through public comment. Each speaker will receive 3 minutes to present comments. However, the public comment session will not exceed 30 minutes total, except by majority vote of the board. During the public comment period, the board chair will recognize speakers in the order in which they've signed in. Substitute speakers will not be permitted, and speakers may not donate any portion of their time to the speaker. Board members will not respond to individuals who address the board during the public comment period. All speakers are expected to maintain proper decorum and civility. Personal attacks, insults, offensive language, or disruptive behavior will not be permitted. Comments must be issue-oriented. Matters involving personnel or student-specific concerns are confidential by law and are not appropriate for public comment. They should be addressed through the appropriate administrative or grievance channels. Individuals who interrupt, disrupt, or cause a disturbance during the meeting may be directed to leave and could be subject to exclusion from future meetings and/or school property as permitted by law, North Carolina General Statute 143-318.17.
At this time, Mr. Joseph Dixon. Evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank you very much. Only reason I came up to just to say, I asked that the board of Bladen County school system would do the righteous and just decision towards East Arcadia school that's being closed, that we are asking to use for the town of East Arcadia at this time. Just righteous and justice and your decision. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Tyrone Tucker.
Good evening.
Evening, sir.
Good evening. I just wanted to share a letter that was written on behalf of the Bean Charter School Academy. It was hand-delivered to Mr. Atkinson back in April 13th. The letter was rescinded, but the desire and the intention for the charter school had not been. It's still, you know, a desire to do. I rescinded the letter, or we rescinded the letter due to alliance with the East Arcadia Development Incorporated and the town of East Arcadia. So I just wanted to share that before I read the letter. So it's a brief letter showing our intention and desire to purchase the building and the property. But it reads, from Tyrone Tucker, President of Beam Academy, formal request to discuss the purchase of long-term lease of the East Arcadia Elementary School facility or purchase. Dear members of Bladen County Board of Education, on behalf of Beam Academy Charter School, we respectfully submit this formal request to discuss the purchase or long-term lease of the East Arcadia Elementary School facility, which is scheduled for closure. Beam Academy Charter School is a nonprofit organization established to serve the children, youth, and families of the East Arcadia and surrounding communities. Our mission is to empower youth by recognizing their diverse needs, creating a challenging and supportive learning environment, and promoting positive impacts in an ever-changing society. We strive to empower youth to become productive global citizens and to assist them in determining their pathway to success. East Arcadia Elementary School has long been an essential hub for our community. With its closure, we believe the facility presents a unique opportunity to continue serving the public good. Beam Academy proposes to utilize the building and property as charter school. Schools are essential community hubs that foster academic, social, and economic growth. Schools serve as safe gathering places, providing resources for families, promoting civic engagement, and aligning education with local needs. Strong school-community partnerships boost academic performance and create a supportive environment that enhances overall community well-being. Recognizing the benefit of community partnerships, we have established a connection with East Arcadia Development Incorporated and the town of East Arcadia, and are working with this group to ensure the community benefits most fully from our collective efforts. Our organization is prepared to work collaboratively with the board to explore terms that are mutually beneficial. I'll stop. My time is up, but that was basically it.
Clarification on this, if I could, Chair.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
So you're willing to, so you're talking about the Dean Academy, right?
Right, Beam Academy.
And they're willing to purchase their property at fair market value, or?
No, not fair market value. We would like a very low long-term lease, or, historically, things like this have happened have been purchased for as less as $1, right? From my research,
I've seen it happen.
yeah.
But I've seen it not be done by statutes of North Carolina. I've seen it done with Paul R. Brown.
Right.
And, it was done illegal.
It was done
So-
illegally?
Yes, it was. If you look up on Paul R. Brown, we were getting a lease from them. The board at the time voted to give them the school, which took away funds from Bladen County. It really did. Right now, Bladen County is really.
It's asking for clarification or just giving a statement?
Well, I answered his question when he asked me, but thank you.
So as far as a lease, a long-term lease, what's the?
Can't answer any
Can't
questions
answer?
right now.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
At this time, Ms. Rhonda Hall. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, governing board members, superintendent, and other administrative staff. As has been stated, my name is Rhonda Hall, and I am Mayor Pro Tem for the town of East Arcadia. I am here to speak on behalf of the town of East Arcadia. The town is requesting consideration for the transfer and/or a lease of the school and associated properties to the town. It is the understanding of the town that our school has closed, that other schools have closed, and that those schools have been gifted to other organizations, such as Spalding Monroe was gifted to the cultural arts, Extended Hope was gifted to Youth Focus, Booker T. Washington was gifted to Bladen Community College. In addition, our neighboring county of Cumberland has just voted on June 9th, 2026, to transfer 2 schools in Cumberland County to the county commissioners for a sum of $1 each. Even though precedence of gifting closed schools has already been set, if the board feels it cannot gift the schools to the town, we request that you lease the property to us. The town is committed to preserving and revitalizing this important community asset. We intend to utilize the facility as a multi-purpose educational and community center dedicated to meeting the crucial needs of East Arcadia. The town believes that East Arcadia Elementary School property is uniquely situated to continue serving the public good through the uses I mentioned above. The town is prepared to assume responsibility for ongoing maintenance, operational costs, and appropriate liability coverage associated with the property. Thanks for your time, your consideration, your help in this matter. Please give us the same kind consideration that you have given others. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. At this time, we'll move down to information items. Information item 7.1, request of naming East Bladen High School soccer facility. Dr. Atkinson.
Thank you, Chairman, Singletary, and board members. Just want to share with the board a request has been made to consideration of naming the East Bladen High School soccer facility, the Dr. Samuel Ray Cross soccer facility. Board policy 9300 does govern the naming of facilities. And so I just want to share with the board that request had been made. We will follow board policy 9300 in terms of requirements that are placed there for setting a committee to review that as spelled out in policy. And then we will bring a recommendation back based on the committee and following that policy. Just want to share with the board that that request obviously been received and the potential of maybe having some information for the board to consider at the September meeting.
Thank you, sir. Information item 7.2, Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, September 2026.
We had received a request for this to be placed on the agenda for designating the month of September as Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in Bladen County Schools. I know there are several various cancers that would fall under childhood cancer. Most notably, the district has participated previously in breast cancer awareness in the month of October, but there's just been information shared with the board to consider. And of course, I'm not sure if we need a formal vote or something for that, but it'll be something that obviously we have had students who have been impacted by childhood cancer. That'd be something we would just lease. Typical what we do even for like Red Ribbon Week, if you're looking at that month, we pick a week and do some special activities schools will participate in. But just want to kind of bring to the board's attention that that might be something we would like to acknowledge because we have had students and families who have been impacted by childhood cancer.
Any other board members on that one? Discussion? All right, we'll move on to information item 7.3, financial update. Mr. Daniel Nolan.
Good afternoon, board members. Just want to follow up with you on our August board report. So the state has now voted and passed their budget. A few major highlights from the budget that will impact our finances for the new school year moving forward will be those, teacher raises, state bonuses, decreased state funding, which came in at approximately $2.5 million, and decreased federal funding, which came in at approximately $500,000. For a total fiscal cut of $3 million right off the gate from our budget year. I'll bring forward more detail and go into a deeper dive into the budgeting process, but I've got the summary of the state budget highlighted for y'all. That will be attachment SB 257 in that regard. Allotment, so we've received state allotment revision number 6 as of July 30th. We expect the 2027 budget resolution to be forth to you guys at our September meeting. In the meantime, I have a continuing resolution that will just have that bridge gap in funding. But that'll be presented at a later time. I don't know if, did that make it in the packet? Okay, perfect. Perfect, thank you, sir. So I'm going back to the finance update. The big elephant in the room is cash flow. So Bladen County continues to receive funding from federal, state, and local sources. As we prepare for the 26-27 budget year and upcoming school year, I recommend that the Bladen County Board of Education work collaboratively with county officials to reevaluate the current local funding process. Based on our actual uses of fund balance during the 25-26 year, which was 2/3, maintaining your fiscal, liquidity will be a challenge within the operating capacity that we currently find ourselves at. It's going to become more increasingly difficult to meet those financial obligations, so the district's cash flows aren't really aligned with the money that comes in. And I'll give you an example on that. For several significant annual obligations, such as our insurance premiums, those are large dollar amounts, $250,000. Those have to be paid up front. They can't be paid in payments, and they have to be paid as of July 1st. Well, if you get 1/12 of your money from the county government, the two doesn't always align. Your needs versus what money you have available for the current funding structure. So that mismatch creates unnecessary cash flow, and despite having available budget. And right now, we don't have the fund balance to really float those expenses moving forward. So from an audit perspective, we just wrapped up our audit for the year. You'll hear from our auditor at the October board meeting, Mr. Paul, or excuse me, Mr. Adam. So the 25-26 school year, that's been completed. You'll get that report. I anticipate having a full breakdown of those schedules in the next couple of days in that aspect, and I'll forward that out to you guys in advance for review. Last but not least, I just wanted to thank you for your continued guidance and support of Bladen County Schools. As we close the end of the year, I just wanted to keep you informed, as we start up the beginning of the year, just want to keep you informed from a budget standpoint. Are there any questions on that?
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Director, I appreciate everything that you're doing.
Yep.
How you are looking over our finances intensely as you are, and bringing those issues to our attention.
Mm-hmm.
Would you speak a little bit about some of the more major issues just beyond the premiums of the insurance? I know that there's a lot more. We have discussed those a little bit, but I want to bring that to attention of the rest of the board and let them be aware of it as well.
Mm-hmm. So let me explain the state bonuses, and I think that'll give a highlight on the financial situation that we're finding ourselves in. So the state of North Carolina did vote and pass bonuses, but they're passing it for state-funded positions. Well, we only have 160 state-funded teachers. We have way more than 160 teachers in our school systems. They did not include that bonus or fund money for child nutrition workers, bus drivers. We have to come up with that locally. It's a promise that's already been made by the state government that we have to meet that obligation.
Right.
Regardless of what funding come in from local sources to offset that. And right now, what has came in additionally is not going to surpass the amount that we have to pay out. So we're making budget cuts from a local aspect on that dollar. Another major draw, and I'm not saying one way or the other, it's a hard situation that we even have to have this conversation and talk about it, but, SRO costs is another thing that's really, draining your fund balance. I think that accounted for about 800,000 of the 2 million that I'm referencing, with 2/3 being gone. So that's a major consideration moving forward into the next year as well. But there's more things that go into that, but that's just off the top of my head.
Right. We currently don't have a contract with the sheriff on the SROs. We've been working diligently to try to get that done. I thank Ms. Brown and her associates for working on that, but it's been very hard to get them to comply with what we've always had in place, what always has worked. I understand you gotta make changes where changes need to be made, but when we say that they're gonna fund 6 SROs and we're gonna fund 6, and then what I'm being told is that all the money for those 6 they're supposed to fund is not coming in. So with that being said, we're left behind, or we're left to try to cover the cost out of our funds, and that's just not gonna work.
Correct, and that,
What was agreed upon is that they fund 6 and we fund 6 for a total of 12. Now, what was recently asked is that we cut it back to 7. So now we wanna compromise the safety of our kids based on what we agreed to do. And that's not right.
I understand your point. Yes, sir, wholeheartedly. I don't think safety is one of the things we need to be compromising in that regard. I don't feel that way. I'm a parent myself, I get
Yes,
it.
sir.
Unfortunately, what the heart wants and what the bank account can have are two different things in this scenario.
I understand. So how would you recommend that we fix that? And I thank you for your comment.
Yes,
I
sir.
understand.
Yeah.
We're still trying to make it
Yeah.
happen based on just what we have, but we should not compromise the safety of our kids when we agree to do something.
And that's it's a hard thing for any parent to wrap their head around financially or anything of that nature. But I think as a board, working collaboratively with your county commissioners to the benefit of the children of Bladen County Schools would be the way to go in that regard.
So just a bigger observation here. Mr. Davis, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. Been in this position going on 4 years. We have yet to receive a budget increase from the county in 4 years. We just got, if you look in the state budget paragraph, we had a $3 million reduction. Is that correct, sir?
2.5 from state and
500 from federal.
500,000 approximately from Title I. I haven't had a chance to reconcile the other
So
federal.
regardless,
allotments.
it's $3 million.
Yeah, from what I
Right.
That's the
understand,
starting point.
Yeah, so from a standpoint of the county not giving us a budget increase for 4 years, we got a budget reduction. We're paying $800,000 for SROs, and we just, or most of us just approved for us to pay directly to the sheriff's department, for 9, is that right? Is that what it was?
10.
No, 10, might be
10, which I think for some of us, we need as much as we can get in the schools. But the point here is we need to, as far as working collaboratively with the county commissioners, we need some help. And, you know, and I'm sure we'll get on into fund balance. Have we just said how much we got into fund balance, what we've got left, or what we've got available?
This isn't an approximate figure.
Well, just
across the board, about
yeah,
$1 million.
About $1 million. So if you divide $1 million out by how many schools we got? 11? It's about $93,000 a school, okay, if something were to happen, okay? That's all the money we got in the bank. So you think about different things with infrastructure. The question I have to ask, or just put out there is, when are we gonna get some support from the county commissioner? Because the county has all the ability, the taxation, all the ability to help us out. But I know there's a lot of, they have to pay out to different schools now. We're not the only school system that get money. So we're having to pay out to the schools. They're having to pay out to the schools. Overall, I'd like to, you know, as far as being collaborative, I understand it, but I think it's pretty obvious we need some help. And, you know, we're floating money right now, or floating bills right now that we don't have the money to, we writing checks we can't pay, we can't write, essentially. So we're not getting the money in a timely frame from the county like we should, so we can pay these bills. And you just can't make payments on $250,000 worth of insurance. You got to write a check for $250,000. Am I correct on that?
Right, correct.
So we need some help, and we need the county to help us out, because the SROs work for who? They work for the county.
sheriff.
right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, they work for the sheriff, so, $700,000, $800,000, help us out, from a standpoint of budget, so, yes, sir.
Chairman, if I could add, on the SRO allocation, I think it was 22, we went and did the request for 6 and 6. The county budgeted, I think, 316,000 that was designated for SROs at that point. They have designated that amount, obviously, continuously. I know that they have, county employees, obviously, they got to look out for county employees and percentages and raises and things like that. What would have potentially covered 6, and Ms. Brown and Mr. Nolan and I went down and met with the county manager and finance officer last week to talk a little bit about that. One part of that was, obviously money was coming to us. When it comes to us in Fund 2, it's subject to a charter percentage. And so they are actually, what Ms. Coleman said they're doing now on that part to fix that portion is they're going to gain credit versus sending it to us, then us send it to the sheriff's office. They're going to go ahead and credit to the sheriff's office, so we won't have that money exchanged for that $316,000. However, the rate that was shared with us, I think it was $93,500 for an SRO average. That's salary, benefits, and everything. 6 officers is actually $561,000. But that allocation we've been getting was $316 specific to the SROs. That's already a shortfall of $245,000 for those 6. And so I think that's kind of built over time. Myself and Mr. Nolan had a chance the auditors kind of gave us a little bit of a debrief. Obviously, the statement they made is your SRO costs are bleeding your fund balance. That was the statement they said to us. Talking about increasing cost, everyone's facing them at home, every entity is increasing utilities. They talked about facilities and trying to reduce expenses, and so it was kind of well-rounded. School systems do not have a way to make money. One thing that Mr. Nolan I think was talking about, and with the cash on hand. Is that 1/12 does make it difficult, not only in the beginning of the year. Local supplements are paid to staff in November and January, so it's 2 additional months, typically is a higher local expense. And so, one of the things we've got to, I think, in the idea of obviously not wanting to reduce safety, because nobody wants to do that, is that difference that exists there in that allocation. Ms. Brown, I think it's $267,000 that come, $264,000, thank you, that comes from the SRO grant. We're required to apply for that annually. One of the requirements for that money is to have a signed agreement with the sheriff's office. At this point, we're unable to apply for that money because we don't have a signed agreement. And so hopefully we'll be able to get that, but there's $264,000 leveraging on having a signed MOU between our board and the sheriff's office. One question we asked while we were there was in terms of when it came to an MOU, the involvement of obviously the county commissioners being able to endorse an MOU because essentially it is local funding that's funding sheriff's office, local funding that would also be doing that. Ms. Coleman expressed something about the Sheriff's Association had said, I think they had worked through and said that could be done by the Sheriff's Office, although you've got governmental funds that are still, and so I'm not sure if there's something we could look at in terms of that. And so even with the 316 and the 264, our invoice for the year is running about 1.1 to 1.2 million. And so that's the difference we have to find elsewhere. If the allocation of 6 was at that figure of 561,000, that would take a $245,000 burden off of trying, so that cost would reduce in terms of trying to find, but then identifying another source. I think typically at-risk funding had been used. That was a fund that was cut by the state as well. So some of the funding sources that Mr. Nolan could potentially, or we've tried to use, that you could try to do in lieu of fund balance, are basically gone down.
And that'll continue to go down when property values are reappraised and property rises, those funding sources will go down.
Right. And so we know we have the moratorium that's this year. But that does impact your low wealth percentage, and so if that tax goes up, it does decrease what we would be able to get in a low wealth based on some forms Mr. Nolan's looked at. And so what might be helping in terms of taxation to increase local revenue will then turn around, so it's, you can increase there, which will be obviously beneficial. Revenue is always a good thing. However, the state reduction would take you back even further. And so it's just like a catch-22. We will make progress in one side, it's taking back from another. The auditor even went to even made a statement that the board may want to examine facilities again and potentially consider closing an additional school. And so those are some things that were just openly shared from the, now I don't, in terms of the full report, but he told Mr. Nolan and I those kind of things to kind of think about in terms of trying to reduce costs. Didn't say you had to, didn't say it was the best interest of the district to do, but obviously we had to look at and study. So, the decreased federal and state, and I'm afraid that federal's gonna be even worse next year, just by some of the things that we've been shared with us, that federal's gonna take even a bigger hit next year. And so depending on, I think the state's a biennium, so unless they do something different in Raleigh, we can expect about the same thing, probably or close to it, again in the next year minus ADM changes. And so we got a biennium, so we can kind of predict state somewhat next time. But federal's gonna be up in the air, obviously locals year to year. One thing that did come out of our meeting, and I think this will be advantageous for us as it relates to the funding, and talking with Ms. Coleman, the county's finance officer, and Mr. Sam, the county manager, is that we tried to bump up our window of budgetary requests maybe to the February timeframe historically, because statute says we have to have a budget to the county by May. And so historically, the school system has done an April, early May kind of thing. But essentially, if we project some of these shortfalls, maybe that would help give commissioners a better idea too, potentially. And I'm good with that. The board is. I mean, there's no reason why we couldn't project earlier. If that's something that would help them, help us. But it's just there's a lot of moving parts on the financial side. And we've already seen it in the news already, and other districts are already saying we're gonna have to have some major cuts. I mean, you think about a Wake County, urban area, they're facing a tremendous amount. They're gonna have to cut on the onset of school. And so it's definitely something we gotta think about. But the auditor's statement to us was that the fund balance is back like it was prior to COVID. So obviously you got the federal dollars that kind of helped for a while there. We know temporary money fixes a temporary situation, but then it goes away. And so every educational agency, I think county government as well, when those ESSER or ARA dollars go, then you're just left with what you've got. So it's right back to where you are. And we know expenses are a whole lot more now than they were in 2020. And so you're looking at a 6-year difference now from, take a power bill, for example. And so just a simple thing like the difference that people individually pay in a 6-year period. Now, even, when you magnify that by, footprint of a district. So it's definitely a tough place to be. But, and so I think we're being good stewards of what we have. But at the end of the day, at some point, it's going to catch up. And I think we're much closer to that now than we ever have been.
Also, Mr. Nolan, we've also, while you're there.
Yes, sir.
We also spoke about 2 other funds, Title I and Title II. They're also taking a major cut.
Yes, sir. That was included in the total for that 500,000 federal cut. So I think right off the bat, don't quote me, I think Title I was right at 250,000, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Hold on.
And how bad is Title II?
Where's Mr. McCarthy? I don't see him.
Ms. Bethay?
Yeah, I don't have it right off the top of my head.
Put us in the ballpark.
I think it was right at 100, I think, somewhere around that.
Yeah, that's
If
what
I'm
I
not
had today.
mistaken, somewhere.
Yeah,
But I can get you the actual figure back up.
if you will,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, I
It's
will.
important that we have that information.
Yeah, yeah.
It's important that the community knows what's going on.
Absolutely, yes, sir. And towards the end of the packet, what I have is what, the last page will have those federal dollars, and I'll make it a point to say that when we get there, okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Mr. Edwards, yes, sir.
Chair, I'd like to speak.
Yes, sir, Mr.
Um,
Edwards.
Financial downfalls, correct? Financial downfalls, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we have.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're sitting on $2 million worth of property, and we give it away, and the school fails, whose fault is it, would you think, if we didn't try to get rid of property at fair market value that's been offered to the county? They could have give us that money. They could have done all these situations. But now we're in a position where we don't have money. The county said, we don't want to give you fair market value. We don't want to make these community centers. We want to give it back to you. We want to give you this property, to give it away, and then we want to complain because you don't have money to operate your school. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, number one, we have to operate the school system. I'm telling you, the county had a chance. They turned it down, give it back to us. Now, the community is going after us. This property, if we would sell it, would help operate this school. Do you agree with that?
The sale of property could definitely go back to offset other future capital projects across the district, so it could definitely help. And to answer your question, originally, that would rest back with the Board of Education in that regard.
That's a statement I wanted to make. It may not be popular, but I'm telling you, it's honest.
It could help.
Anybody sits here, I wanna know I made an honest statement.
Those would be dedicated strictly to capital, but yes, they could be used for future offset projects.
Okay, if I may ask a question, just to follow up from Mr. Edwards.
Yes, sir, Mr.
Dr.
Thomas.
Atkinson, could you tell us how money is received to build schools?
Typically, in our last construction, that was the capital.
Just to make it easier, could you tell me what percentage of those dollars come from the actual school district?
Typically, if it's gonna,
5% of the
5%, 5%
total
on
cost
the
of the
capital, so like Tar Heel was a 5%, I think ended up being 7 million.
Yeah.
And
And we'll
so,
pay that over the next 30 years.
yeah, they actually, they did this one for 10, they financed that one for
Okay.
10.
Okay.
I think the payment's around 560,000, I think, over.
Okay, so
that
that's
comes
what
off
Tar
capital
Heel
outlay.
School. So
That's
our
Tar Heel.
most recent school, but
A
for
lot of
other-
times construction is done either through a bond, and so that could be a bond referendum, it could be passed. You know, a school system cannot go out and borrow money. So if we say we want to build X school, we cannot go out and say we're going to take out a $40 million loan. County government has to do that because we
Right.
cannot borrow money.
Okay, so I think, just to the point, just to mention that the school district, meaning Bladen County Board of Education, that we did not build either East Arcadia or Plainview schools per se, meaning that it was dollars from our budget. It was a percentage, a maximum of 5%, and in years past, it may have been much less or even a bond referendum where the county actually paid for it. Just wanted to be sure that I made that point, just to go back to what Mr. Edwards said.
And speaking of, if I can add, I think bond, if I'm not bad mistaken, East and West was done, East and West Bladen were on a bond referendum, I think. Those were the bond referendum.
Go ahead, Mr. Nolan.
I didn't have anything, yeah. All right.
All right.
If we can go to the next page, sir. Thank you. And I just want to highlight a breakdown of kind of where our expenditures ended for the fiscal year. I want to give you a breakdown by code grant year. So the first spreadsheet we're looking at here is the year-end remaining allotment balance per state. So you'll notice a lot of zeros down there on the net remaining balance. We do want those state dollars to go to zero on an ideal basis. When they don't, I want a good explanation for why. So the school technology fund, that 55,000, that rolls over to this year. We're not going to lose that money. Same thing with summer school. That money rolls. Summer school is in the middle of the year. We have to pay out paychecks in July, just like we have to in June. So that money rolls. Third grade read to achieve bonuses, that's a state allotment specific bonus. You do, as a finance officer, I would retain a small portion of that back in case the event we were to have an employee come that qualifies. You have the money to pay out. That is a 100% expense allotment in my opinion. So that's just a little bit remaining there. Principal bonus, same thing from that regard. So the principal bonuses, that funding will revert back to the state, but you didn't have an applicable principal to give the bonus to, so there's no, no harm, no foul there. So our TA to teacher program, those funds did revert back to the state. I'm working with our HR department to come up with a better process to make sure that information is readily available for employees and things of that nature. So feminine hygiene products is another thing that reverted. That was $3,100. I'll be working with the nurses to make sure if that allotment comes through, we expense that. Supplemental funds for teacher compensation. So again, that's your teacher 71 bonuses. You don't want to pay out 100% of that at the time it's due because somebody will come up at the last minute. So that would be a 100% expense item in my opinion. Towards the end, you're going to see some larger numbers, $189,000 for LEA school bus. That school bus was actually, purchased. That's money that come in from the state of North Carolina. It's never green money that we actually touch. So that was just a receipt thing on the books. You received the bus, the state paid for it. We're good to go there. Textbook money, you'll notice $478,000 of it. That will roll over to this year's fund. However, the state did pass in Budget Bill 257 that they're changing the parameters around textbooks and digital resources. So instead of a fund balance, which we could accrue year after year and build up for large book purchases and other things, it's a use it or lose it scheme now. So you either use the money that year or you don't. So there will be no more accumulated fund balance.
And
so
we
that
have to use that money by
June 30th of 2027. Yes, sir. And then last but not least, your economically disadvantaged public support. That was Elizabethtown Middle School. That grant was specific to the school, to the purpose, to the kid in that regard. So in my opinion, that grant worked for what it was for. And last but not least, National Board Certification. There was no payouts for that, but we look forward to having those this year coming up. So any questions from the state side?
Only
Perfect.
question I have, Mr. Nolan, is
Yes, sir.
how long you been doing this?
School finance? About 7 years.
Think you've seen enough?
Hmm?
I think you've seen enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the major things you think that we need to change? Starting with some of these contracts. I think that's killing us. These contracts, I think they're outrageous.
Right. To better answer your question, I do know the things that we need to address are the things that don't really, benefit Bladen County students or the things that don't go towards that. So that's my mindset with the dollars. To give you a breakdown of it right now, I would say we just need to keep our mind on what the auditor said as far as SROs and fund balance moving forward, because that'll be the big thing that could get us all in trouble in that aspect. So just monitoring that fund balance moving forward, making sure that we're being good stewards of the resources that we have available. But, I mean, the big request, going back to Mr. Singletary's, comment would be just repairing those relationships with county commissioners. I think a lot will change once those are repaired.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
so much.
Yes, sir. So, last but not least, we're gonna go down to federal allotments. You're gonna notice a common trend on this. There's a lot of carryover. Federal allotments that were zero out were funds that we could, by state legal or zero out. We do have some carryover in Title I, 147,000. That's good. As far as all the other carryovers, we have 27 months from the grant year period to expense all those funds. So we still have at least 11 months at this point to expense those funds in year 5. Year 5, yes, sir.
And one thing if I can add about federal too, is the federal, new federal dollars don't come until October because of the federal
Correct.
fiscal year. And so
Correct.
we maintain a carryover to do the July, August, September payroll and expenses.
Yeah, I apologize about that.
That's no problem.
There's a different fiscal year for your federal carryover, so it starts in October. Your normal fiscal year starts in July, so there's 3-month period, target 25% rollover. That should be your target to cover your expenses for those 3 months.
It's always been there.
Yep. Apologize about that. So from a federal standpoint, everything shook out, no funds reverted, anything of that nature. Or, excuse me, there was $125 that reverted, but that was prior, that was August of 20, or September
Ain't
of
gonna make a difference
25.
anyway.
Yeah, so that, 125 did revert. So last but not least, if I can go to the next page, I'm not sure. Thank you, sir. All right, just want to go over the positions. The state has changed the way we fund, or that way they funded, teacher allotments. So instead of funding, just straight positions, they're going down to days of employment that we have to track on a district standpoint. So every one of our 001 teacher allocations are days. They can say positions, they're actually days paid. So we have to reconcile those days to make sure that we're good stewards of that money. So at the end of the year, you'll notice that there are a couple things in red. Those are red, I would say intentionally. I left them red intentional purpose because they're within the guidance and threshold that we can have for leniency with those funds. So we did keep that threshold in there. The remaining funds that reverted were just too specific to convert, or we didn't have the time to convert them to other usable areas for the district in that regard. So overall, you're spending, the main point in that page is you're spending all of your position allotments. Everything's 99.9 and above, or excuse me, 99.2 and above for CTE. So outside of that. And last but not least, we've got budget reconciliation. So this will show you the hard actual numbers from the state, and I will get you a comparison for the federal budget. Just give me a little bit of time, you'll have that before the next meeting. But this just lays it out verbatim, the difference in funding sources and allotment, and what drives the funding sources for the state student count in that regard. So if we have reduced ADM, we're going to see reduced funding to that metric. So
Makes sense.
I mentioned 2.5 at the 2.5 state. You'll scroll to the bottom and you can see that figure. You'll notice even down for teaching positions, 163 and a half teaching positions for the entire district. So that's 163 bonuses that'll be paid out by the state. The rest has to come from our local allocation, or I have to find money within programs to help suffice, those dollars. And those bonuses have to be paid out by October 15th, if I'm not mistaken. So, it's kind of. And the last page will be the federal allotments, and I'll give you that information comparison so you can have a good frame of reference. All right.
And one deal, Mr. Nolan talked about ADM. I think 113 out of 115
Yes,
LEAs experienced ADM loss. So
That's
all
correct.
but 2 in the state had a reduction.
that's correct.
It's tough.
Are there any questions about your August finance update? All right. Just want to say thank you for your time and commitment, and I look forward to working with you, Mr. Singletary, to answer your question, how can we work collaboratively together? Just all got to come to the table and, you know, figure out the best route to move forward. And I look forward to having that opportunity with each and every one of you. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
At this time, we'll move to action items 8.1 and 8.2 to discuss the property disposition options, vacant school properties, Plainview and East Arcadia, and the lease of East Arcadia school property to town of East Arcadia.
And so what the board has for you, we did receive a letter from the town of East Arcadia that's attached there for you all on board docs requesting lease for the property. We did, most recent meeting, again, was tabled, and so those items are listed under 8.1, the disposition options that exist for the board, and also including the memo there. And so those will be for the board to review and discuss and to hopefully make a decision on tonight. Which direction to go?
Mr. Thomas.
I'd like to make a motion that we move forward with a lease agreement with the town of East Arcadia for a term of 9 years and 11 months.
There's a motion on the floor to move forward the lease of East Arcadia school property to the town of East Arcadia for 9 years, you said?
9 years and 11 months.
9 years and 11 months. I have a second. Any discussion?
Yes, I would like to say, I think that this has gone on far too long with Plainview School, with Mr. Smith coming and greeting the board several times over the last year or so, and also with the town of with East Arcadia, with their community coming here. I think that we need to go ahead and make a decision as quickly as we possibly can. I think based on the based on the information that Mr. Weaver has presented to us, and also his predecessor, Ms. Maya, it seems as if this is something that we can actually go in and do. I just want to be mindful of the board members that this is not strange to the board. This has happened before with Blaine County schools and a different entity. So this is not new. This is not unique. This is not pulling the pie in the sky. This is something that we've seen done in previous years. So I think that we have the ability to lease the school for, I think it's what, $1 annually. So I think that's something that we strongly need to consider and to move forward in that direction. We've heard from them. They've told us their plans with the facility. As of now, Bladen County Schools has not given us a clear pathway of how we plan to utilize the facility or what we plan to do differently. And so this is now a building that's in the community, their last standing governmental building, from my understanding, from the county. And I think that it would be a good thing for us to move forward and to lease the building to them. I think any opposition to that, because we've already said as a board collectively that we don't agree on many things. We don't agree on many things at all, but we have all agreed that we wanted to put the building into the hands of the communities, meaning Plainview and also East Arcadia. And I think now is the time for us to put our vote where our mouths were when we once said that.
I second that. 100%.
Yes, sir, Mr. Edwards.
I still feel like with the situation of the school system, we have to have no less than fair market value for these buildings for our school to function.
Just to go back, Mr. Chairman, just to go back to what Mr. Edwards said, my motion was actually for a lease and not a purchase. So the building would actually still belong to Bladen County Schools, but we will lease it to the town of East Arcadia.
So at this time, we've got a motion on the floor and a second. Discussion has been had to accept the lease of East Arcadia school property to the town of East Arcadia. We'll do it as a raise of hands. That way everybody can see if we agree or disagree. So all those in favor.
One more question. How much is it being leased for?
There's no dollar amount in that.
Right, according to general statute, we can do it as low as $1 per year.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Hold on just a second, sir. So we've had discussion. We've got the motion on the floor. And we're ready to vote. So if you're in favor, by signifying to lease the property to the town of East Arcadia, signify by raising.
Mr. Chair, if I could just
Mr.
ask a clarifying question
Sure.
on the motion. Is it a motion to approve like a finalized lease or a motion to direct staff to take the steps of finalizing a lease? There would need to be terms negotiated, whatever cost the board
Right, I think it was
directs.
mentioned before that they would take responsibility of liability insurance and the maintenance of the facility, so there'd be minimum out-of-pocket costs for the school system. So that would actually go in and draft an instrument that both parties could agree on.
So the result would be to direct staff to then negotiate the lease with the town. Is that correct? Is that the intent?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
So all those in favor with, do what now? Yeah, with the show of hands by directing staff to draw up or negotiate with the town of East Arcadia, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed? Three, six. Okay.
At this point, I'd like to make a motion to sell the East Arcadia property and Plainview if they could at fair market value.
So we have a motion on the floor, to, put Plainview and East Arcadia in the upset bid process. Is that correct, sir?
That's right. So the board has various disposal options. One would be the lease, which isn't a disposal. As long as it's less than 10 years, as Mr. Thomas pointed out, then it's not a sale. It would be a lease. If the board were to seek to dispose of the properties, meaning sell, there are several different competitive bid processes that are available. One is sealed bids, one is public auction. The most commonly utilized is the upset bid process. So if it was the desire of the board to use the upset bid process, I think the direction would be for staff to initiate disposal via the upset bid process in accordance with statutes. And just to clarify on that too, that would just start off with the district seeking an initial bid. That bid is then advertised and there's opportunities for upset bids. But at the end of the day, whatever the highest amount is still has to come back to the board. So you're not bound to anything just by initiating the process. You could still, at the end of the day, decide you're not going to accept, or you're going to wait, or you're going to repost it. It just starts the process.
Okay. So at this time, we get a motion on the floor to ask for staff to look at all options for the upset bid process. Is that
Is that
Mr.
to
Chair, if I
initiate
may,
the
before-
to
upset bid
initiate?
process?
Yeah,
If I may say,
motion, we had a motion on the floor. I have a second. Any discussion, Mr. Davis?
if I may say something before we go on to the point of deciding to do, sell these two schools. We sat as board members and we looked at the condition of both schools. We looked at every single aspect as to what those schools stood in at that point, meaning the condition of the schools. And at that point, we did not have a budget. May I make that point? We did not have a budget. So what I will say is this, and I would ask this board to please reconsider doing what we said we would do. Those schools were built for the communities that they sit in. If we sell the school, if we did agree to do that, it's not gonna fix our problem. It's not gonna fix it one bit. It's gonna continue to be right where it is. So why would we take away from those communities what they have earned and what we have given? We have gone to the point of giving them to provide for the community and the kids in that community. Those schools were built, and the size of those schools were built on the people in that community and the kids in that community. It belongs to them, and we all agree to do that. And because we find ourselves in budget cuts that are done from the federal and state level that we cannot do anything about, we choose to fold our hands. It's been expressed already what we can do and what we should do on more than one occasion. And it's gone to the point where we have almost come to, to battling each other about it. And that should never happen because we sat there and agreed what we would do. And I think that we need to reconsider our decision to sell these schools. Let's not get in a process that we will hurt ourselves even more. I beg you to please reconsider what we need to do with these schools. And as I stated earlier, if that is the process, East Arcadia said they will purchase the school. Now, we haven't got that information from Plainview. But however, it should be, which is why I asked the question. When we talk about it, are we talking about both doing the same thing? You want to do it, handle both at one time. That was your recommendation. So if that be your recommendation, if we do that for East Arcadia, we should do the same thing for Plainview and give them the opportunity to respond. They probably have not even discussed it yet, but I take the East Arcadia has. There's quite a few members in the audience from East Arcadia. They're here, they're speaking. We know what their heart concerns are. We know what they want to do. They'll sit them to the plate. And they've done that on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 occasions. So why would we sit there and go back on our word and not do what's right for those communities and communities? We have closed the school already. Now the kids got to get up 2 hours earlier just to make it to Clarkton School to school. We're putting all the pressure on them. And we're not absorbing none of it. They're the one that's taking the hit, the kids and the people in that community. Where are we at? We're supposed to fight for them. Where are we? And then when we get the money, we'll probably give some bonuses out, give somebody some raises, and then it's gone. I don't know, but whatever we use it for, I hope we use it for the right reason. And I'm never against giving anybody a raise if they deserve it, but at the end of the day, we're talking about kids in a community. This school was built for this community, such as Plainview. And why are we not trying to fight for them? I don't understand it. Neither one of them are rich. If you've been to the communities, neither one of them rich. And they probably can pay more than $1. But we don't want to get astronomical on that either. I ask you, all board members, to please reconsider. And let's do what we said we would do. In a unified decision, we would give those schools back to those communities. The fact that we're in a tight situation and we are basically broke. I didn't want to say that because you got to watch what you come out your mouth. But at the end of the day, it ain't their fault. It ain't their fault. So I ask you, please, to reconsider that decision. Let's not even entertain it at this point. If we have to wait another month or two, let's do it. But at the end of the day, let's come together as a board and let's do what we said we would do and find a way to make it right. Find a way to make it right. That's my rant.
Mr. Thompson?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair, and my apologies in advance for things that I may say. Don't blame it on me, blame it on the medication. I will say that I'm flabbergasted, I am hurt, I am in awe that this board collectively said that we wanted to put the schools into the hands of the communities. We made that vow, we made that pledge, and some that voted against this have lied to the people that they took an oath to serve. Mr. Edwards mentioned previously, who graciously made the motion that we explore selling the schools. However, we've not, as a district, we've not built these schools on our own dime. Folks in East Arcadia and also in Plainview have paid taxes that contributed to the building and the upkeeping of those schools. This is an opportunity for us to make things right. We saw the condition of East Arcadia School at our last board meeting, our board meeting that we had there. It was neglected for a number of years by way of saying that it was not kept in the best way that it should have been kept for students to be there and to operate there. This decision, to me, I would take it, I view it as a slap in the face to individuals who are saying, allow us the opportunity to grow our community and to educate our students. We've snatched everything of value from the East Arcadia community. And Mr. Edwards has made the motion now that we snatch the last standing entity, which would be the East Arcadia School. I think that's unfair. This is not based on political affiliation. It's not based on the fact that some folks are Republicans, some are unaffiliated, some are Democrats. This is about doing what's good and doing what's right. And we have, I think the Bible says it's better for a man not to make a vow than to make one and break one. And we made a vow and we lied to these people's face. And we told them, in essence, your vote carries, it says a lot more so than I. Raising your right hand says more than I'm in agreement. It means I will do anything in my power that you all have given to me to hurt your community. And that's what we're seeing on tonight from our perception. The money that we're talking about helping schools, we need to go and do a feasibility study and look at the way that dollars are utilized within the district. If we really cared about students, Mr. Edwards, we'd be very cautious of how we spend those dollars and how we vote. What you're saying is, I will sacrifice East Arcadia community to build a field house at East Bladen or West Bladen High School. Exactly. So a field house, to me, means more, from my interpretation of the vote, means more than the community and the students. I think that we need to reconsider what we've just voted on, and that we take time, if it takes a little bit of time. East Arcadia, the town of East Arcadia, I'm hopeful that they're open to maybe a shorter term lease. It doesn't have to be 9 years and 11 months. But moving forward with selling the property without allowing folks the opportunity in the community to come forward to present their best case and also to have first priority. There are some nuances. There are some caveats that we don't have to sell the property at fair market value. There are some other things that can be done. There are some charter schools now that could actually go and acquire East Arcadia School at for $1. So that would be below fair market cost. And that's in general statute. There's also, Bladen Community College could actually go and acquire East Arcadia School for less than fair market value. So, and we've done this before. Did we not have a need when we sold, Booker T. Washington School? Was that need still not there?
Getting ready to see it.
That dollar need? The thing is that we're losing schools, we're losing students in our district. And until we get things in place, we'll continue to do so. So what you propose, Mr. Edwards, when you're saying that you're making this based on a physical decision, or that, go ahead. I want you, because then I want to.
You called me out several times over there.
Oh, and I didn't stutter when I did. I was very loud and very clear.
Have I heard anything from Mr. Thomas about this property was offered to the county, to give to the community.
No, the county cannot
The
give,
county could have gave,
Hold on.
with an attorney speaking, the county could have gave us fair market value. You're wrong if you say that.
Now, Mr. Edwards, you're incorrect. The county cannot do that. The county, by state law, we have to offer the property to the county first. And once they agree to
Did
it,
we do that?
let me finish.
Yes, we
Let me
did.
finish.
We
And we
did.
and we
Don't
did
finish.
and we did
That's
and we did do that. We gave them the opportunity to take the school, and they gave it back to us.
correct.
They gave it back to us to try and do what's right for the communities.
To right. is
Yeah,
to run
and
Blaine
then
County schools.
once we did that, once that was done, we all sat and agreed that we would do it. We knew that when the county gave it back to us. And they had stepped up to the plate and they've said they will pay the insurance, they will pay whatever fee that we come to as long as it's reasonable. We put some things on the table. We haven't come to a decision yet, but they said they would do all the things that it takes to obtain this building for their community and for their kids.
Question,
Okay.
I think,
That's-
Mr.
hold-
question.
Mr. Rhoda.
If they give us $3 billion for the school, what way could we use that money? What way would we be allowed to use it?
My understanding, any sale of school property would have to go into capital outlay, which could be done for
And that's my
facility
point, Jason.
repair. That's all that would go.
Yeah, that's my
house.
point. We don't need capital
Yeah.
outlay, do we? What we need it for?
Well, you gotta use it for
To
air
build a field
conditioning,
house, probably,
heating and air,
yeah,
keeping up infrastructure.
yeah. I don't think we having a problem with it.
Keeping up
capital outlay.
infrastructure? Well, we failed to do that, if I may say this, Mr. Secretary. Keeping up infrastructure, then we failed to do that when we didn't take care of East Arcadia School. We failed to do that when we didn't take care of Booker T. Washington. We failed to do that when we didn't take care of Plain View. So that's 3 times, and if I'm correct, 3 times and you're out. But at the end of the day, we failed to do it 3 times.
All right, so we have
I was
we got a
actually,
motion
listen,
on the floor.
I didn't help, wait,
Hold
you had
up,
called
hold
me
up,
before.
hold up. We got a motion on the floor. We've got a second, and we've had discussion.
No, we hadn't, you cut my microphone is off. You told me to hold it a
I
second.
ain't touched nothing.
Just,
I haven't
I
touched
okay.
anything.
Okay, gotcha. I can't hear myself. And in fact, I was
Well-
gonna respond to Mr. Edwards. And so, yeah, again, Mr. Edwards mentioned, earlier that I called him out a couple of times, and I will say this to you, several times. And I will say this, Mr. Edwards, I will call you out every time until you do what is right. So I'm always gonna do that.
And I will
And
too.
I will say this, is
They gonna
that
fall
they-
late.
those schools we should have voted on this a long time ago to put those schools back into those folks' hands. We've gone through the process, and then once we've gone through and offered it to the county commissioners and they declined, then it went back to the school district for us to dispose of it within general statute. With that being said, general statute does give us the option, if they're not prepared to buy the schools at this time, then we could actually lease the schools
Yeah.
to those
Thomas,
entities.
did that just fail and I made a motion? Your motion failed, or whoever made it, correct? And I made a motion to sell it at fair market value. When your motion failed, I made a motion. So you can talk or say whatever you wish. There's a motion on the floor. You can ask the attorney to sell the property at fair market value.
Okay, and
We're just waiting to have the vote. You go
Oh.
ahead and talk.
This is, and I want everyone to understand this, is that this is me being as polished and professional as I've been taught to be. I think that Mr. Edwards, your behavior on tonight really tells who you are as a person. I want to say this, with calling you out, there have been some things, I don't want to go into personal attack, but there have been some things that I would like to have called you out on. And I will say this, I want you to say to me what you said to the young lady at Tokyo Express. And I will end now. Thank you.
At this time, we will make a motion. We've got a motion and a vote on the floor, and we've got a second. All those in favor of that motion signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we'll look at action item 8.3, purchase of playground equipment, Clarkton School Discovery, Miss Ann Brown and Dr. Atkinson.
Thank you, Chairman Singletary and board members. Mr. Chair, board attorney has a clarification on the previous action item.
Mr. Chair, I
Yes,
recommend
sir.
going back and recounting the vote. I only saw 8 hands alternately raised.
So can I get a raise, you need to raise the right hand of who approved the
Right.
motion that was
So
on
we
the
can
floor?
count,
Can I
get a
raise?
correct count.
All those opposed?
Hold up for just a minute, we
Mr.
had
Rhodes.
one go to the bathroom.
And this is for the same vote. Well,
We're trying to get the original count.
They said it was a tie. Yeah, they said it was a tie. I don't know, hold on. Well, we gonna see. We're gonna raise the hand, we gonna make sure of this, because this is ridiculous, man. I'm sick of it.
Are we waiting for
I am
Mr. Rhodes?
totally sick of this mess.
And so for clarification, there
That's part of what's
Five-
gonna end up
five
happening.
in
We keep
favor,
going the
4
direction
in
we're going.
favor.
Well, I guess,
5 and 2.
in one
But Mr. Rhodes just stepped out.
abstention.
I don't know what. Mr. Rhodes.
Mr. Rhoda.
Come back here, man, help us. 'Cause we need your help, man.
So just to clarify the previous vote, all those in favor of that motion that was on the floor signify by
Can
by
you restate
raising.
the motion, please, just to make it very clear as to what we are doing for the
So-
records?
So the motion on the floor is to get with, staff, council, to look at the upset process for Plainview and East Arcadia schools.
My understanding of the motion, it's not just to consider it, but to initiate the
Initiate,
upset bid
yes, sir.
process.
All those in favor by signifying by raising your right hand.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All opposed.
1, 2, 3, 4.
5-4. Motion carries. At this time, we'll move on to, the 8.3, playground equipment,
We tried so
Parkland
hard,
School
man.
Discovery.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chairman,
Thank you for
Secretary, and
everything
board
you've done.
members.
We tried.
The playground equipment for Clark Schools Go was placed out for bid. Initial three showed interest. On day of bids receipt, we had one that sent a letter and said they would withdraw consideration. The remaining proposals, the winning bid was VPS Recreation. And so we're requesting the board to approve the purchase with VPS Recreation for the playground equipment at Clark Schools Go.
And we get a motion on the floor to approve, the bid for VPS Recreation.
So moved.
I got a second, any discussion?
Yes, I have a question.
Thomas.
How will this be paid for? What dollars?
Capital outlay funds.
Capital
So
outlay.
from the funding that we may receive from the sale of Booker T. Wash, Plainview and East Arcadia could possibly be used to purchase this? Because it goes
In
into the
theory,
same
it
pot.
could go in
So in
capital.
essence, we're
It
saying
could.
no to the community, but we'll use those funds to buy a playground.
Any more discussion?
Yeah, there's a
The,
little bit more discussion. I don't think that we need to do that, because we just agreed to sell the two schools, and now in the very next item presented was buying some playground equipment. Who we buying it for?
The kids at Clarkton School.
Wow,
Discovery.
why we didn't consider the kids when we talked about not giving this school back to them?
That's not relevant.
That's not relevant?
No,
I
sir.
think it's very relevant,
No, it ain't.
Mr. Secretary.
No, sir.
We didn't consider them when we gave this school away. We didn't consider them really when we closed the school. And when we neglected to take care of the school that we knew was in those communities. And now we talking about buying some playground equipment? Really? I'll buy the playground equipment, me personally, and pay for it in cash. If I had to do that. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. I think we all need to consider what we said we would do when we said we would protect our kids and the communities that they live in. And when we fighting for kids, they are the why. Right now, we're talking about why we need to buy playground equipment. They are the why. They're the reason why we do everything we do. They're the reason why we have a position on this board. They're the reason why those buses run up and down the roads. They're the reason why the buildings were built. They're the reasons why the people that's sitting in this district office have a job and are able to take care of their families. That some of their kids attend this same district. Superintendent's daughter just graduated. She's a product of Bladen County Schools. Look at the message you're sending.
Can I make a motion?
Yes, sir. Get it.
A motion that we take Mr. Davis up on his offer to buy playground equipment.
I second.
I think there was a motion already on the floor.
So we get a motion on the floor. We have a motion on the floor. The discussion has been made. All those in favor by signifying by buying the play equipment through VPS Recreation, say aye. Aye. All opposed. At this time, we'll move on to 8.4, Spring 2026 Custom Policy Updates. Dr. Atkinson.
Thank you, Chairman, Singletary, and board members. We have the Spring 2026 Custom Policy Updates from the School Board Association at the June regular scheduled meeting as consistent with policy. The board did place these on the table. And so what would need to happen tonight was, first of all, those policies have to come off the table for the board to consider those. And then the board would have to take a vote whether to adopt the Spring 2026 custom policies from the School Board Association. I do want to note real quickly as well, that we expect about any time some summer special edition 2026 policies that are coming as a result of some legislative changes that are being made. And so we expect to have those at September. I'm not sure if there's any time constraints on some of those. Depends on what if it's in a bill that says it has to be enacted by a certain time. It is possible we may have to make an emergency adoption. I'm not sure yet. I haven't seen those, but we'll definitely inform the board. But these particular policies, there's no changes to those drafts that were provided in June to the board with those on the table. It'll be a separate set of policies, Mr. Rhoda. So these, I think these would be consistent with any changes that would be in the spring. Is that right? Well, that's true too. That could.
That's right. So the policies that are on your agenda tonight were part of the NCSBA spring update. They did recently release a special summer update based on requirements in the budget bill. You know, I think the question was whether there would be any conflict. No. So the NCSBA is, you know, good at what they do, and they'll ensure that if there's any policies that are part of this spring update that are also being updated in the summer update, you would just update them whenever you get those. I do know some districts have received them, others are still waiting. They are based on provisions in the budget bill that require certain changes that have to be in place by the start of the 26-27 school year. So I know some boards are holding special called meetings since they've already met, or a meeting, you know, the same as y'all tonight, before receiving those. The other option would be to wait until September. There would just be a little bit of a lag.
I make a motion to take them off the table to move forward.
I got a motion on the floor to take them off the table. I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor by that motion must signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we'll get a motion on the floor to approve the spring 2026 custom policy updates.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor by signifying by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we'll entertain a motion. We need a motion for the board to convene in a closed session, preventing the disclosure of confidential information pursuant of S. 143(3)1811A1, 5, and 6, GS 115C 319 to consult with the board attorney and preserve the attorney-client privilege pursuant of GS 143(3)1811A3. I got a motion. I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Now in closed session. Guess that would be 10.1 personnel.
Second.
Got a second, any discussion? All those in favor, I signify by saying aye. All opposed. Can I get a, amendment to, a motion on the floor for the amendment of the current contract for Dr. Atkinson to extend it 1 year through June 30 of 2030?
Second.
I have a second, any discussion? All those in favor by saying aye.
Sir, you,
Yeah, we've already,
Well, board members, if you are going to have any discussion that touches in any way on anything that could be related to performance or other personnel issues, that would need to happen in closed session.
But we didn't have that opportunity in closed session.
yes,
Is
sir.
there a desire for the board to go back into closed session?
Yeah, we need to
If
go
there
back.
is, then there would need to be a motion.
So there's a motion on the floor and a second,
discussion.
and then there's discussion.
All right, so I would like, go ahead, were you making,
Yeah, I wanna discuss it.
oh, go ahead, you can go first, I'm sorry.
But we have to go back in closed session to
Was
discuss.
this a
I
personnel
do-
action? Or
Right.
you're in open session.
Board members, we are in open session, so you cannot
you cannot
discuss
discuss any type-
confidential personnel. If there needs
Right.
to be discussion about performance or concerns or praise regarding performance, that's all closed session discussion material. You cannot discuss that in open session.
Oh, I understand
But-
that. But the motion was not made in closed session. It was a straw vote.
Mm-mm.
I-
So
I will
we,
defer to the will of the board. There's a
Yeah.
motion and a second. Is there a desire to
Have discussion.
withdraw that motion and then for a separate motion to return to close for discussion of this particular item?
What was that? Okay.
so we've got the current motion and we're in the discussion. And
Okay,
the-
dis-
And the board attorney has stated that we cannot speak about anything with personnel out in the open.
Okay, so I won't speak to the matter of personnel, but what I will speak to is the matter of policy. And policy, all items regarding, what is on the floor of the superintendent's contract have not been fulfilled. We've not done our due diligence, we've not followed, what we said that we would do last year. I do think, in my opinion, that this is a ploy from current board members, to secure the superintendent's contract for an additional year. Don't see the value in doing so at this time. That contract that we're discussing still has 3 years remaining. There is no rush to extend it, not to go into personnel reasons, but I do think that the policy, and there are items listed, can I say the contract, since we're discussing the contract, the items listed on the contract that have not been fulfilled, I would like for the board to take this
Board
off.
members, if you're going to discuss whether or not you think the contract is being followed or not, that's confidential personnel.
Okay, so, but that would still apply to the extension of a contract, because if a contract is not, being followed, then,
No, I'm sorry. If any board member has any concern about Dr. Atkinson's contract being followed or not followed, and you want to raise those concerns and discuss those concerns, that needs to happen in closed session, not open session.
So there's no need for.
If you want to talk about general school system issues, the direction of the system.
how about policy? Could we talk about
That
policy?
can happen in open session.
We can
If
talk
the
about
board
policy
needs
in open
additional
session.
discussion with regards to the proposed amendment that's been moved and seconded, that would need to happen in closed session. The member who made the motion, we either withdraw it or you could vote it down, at which point you would be able to entertain a motion to return to closed session if more discussion is needed.
I make a motion that
But-
we withdraw the motion that was just placed on the table. Just withdraw it completely because it was not done properly.
So there's a motion.
Mr. Chair, you are presiding over the meeting. There is a main motion and a second.
All those in
It-
favor?
Sir.
The proposed motion, it's germane, it defeats the purpose of the first motion. I think you can debate and vote this motion up or down. Again, the maker could voluntarily withdraw the motion in order to allow for a motion to return to closed. But right now, you have a main motion and a second.
Mr. Weaver, as we're talking discussion, you said that we can't talk about the actual contract, even though we're voting on the contract, that had to be discussed in closed session. But policy.
What you are discussing is concerns with whether the contract's being followed or not, which would be closed session. That's
Okay.
different than
So,
just
but I can
talking about the
discuss-
contract and an extension of the contract or not extending the contract.
Could I discuss policy
In what way?
in regards to the policy states that the board must meet with the superintendent with his evaluation. The policy also states that we'll meet with the superintendent to develop goals for the upcoming year. So those are things that are in the policy that the board has not yet done.
So at this time, we've got a motion on the floor. We've had the second. All those in favor by signifying by showing your right hand. All opposed. 5-4. Motion carries. At this time, we'll entertain a motion to amend the contract for Miss Ann Brown, Deputy Superintendent, for 2 years through 6/30/30 with no other changes.
Motion to approve.
Have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor by signifying by raising your right hand. All opposed. Motion carries. At this time, we'll move into board member comments.
I certainly would, not vote for Jason to extend his contract and then not vote for Ms. Brown to extend hers.
Do I?
Mr. Thomas?
Just a couple of things, really quick. Mr. Carroll at East Bladen High School, I talked with one of the teachers there at the school. They spoke very, very highly of him and the work that he's doing. I think that folks feel, well, based on conversation with a couple of folks, they feel heard. I think they value his leadership, and so I wanted to send a shout out to him and that he continue the good work that he's doing. I thank you all so much for what you have done for me personally and what you've done to make this load a lot lighter. There's a lot of things I understand, and I've said this to the superintendent, I've said this publicly, that is a job as a superintendent I would not want to have. I know that comes with a great deal of responsibility. I do want our school district to move in the right direction, but I do think in order for us to do so, that we have to be a united board. And I think that even after 18 months on the board, I'm still the new kid on the block, that we are divided. And we're divided, I think, I don't want to say by race, but I think we may be divided by political party. I think that's, in looking at documents and instruments that are sent to all of us, it appears, and this is just my perception, I don't want to be accusatory of anyone, but I think that in my perception, there are meetings that are held before the meeting, and that folks have already determined what they're going to do and the way that they're going to do it. And as long as it may seem that I'm going to say me, myself, it may seem that I may be argumentative or combative or something of that sort, but I'm fighting to have a voice heard. Every vote that I've cast has been, from my perspective, in the best interest of the district, not in the best interest of the superintendent, not the deputy superintendent, but what I think is the best for the actual district. I think that whenever I took my oath, I pledged an allegiance to my constituents and also to do the best I could in this capacity. I did not pledge allegiance to the superintendent. And that means that if I feel that something is not right, it is not based on him personally or the deputy superintendent. It is a matter of doing what is right and what will benefit our district. We've all seen the changes in public education across the nation. And if we look at the state, in the next 10 years, we may not have a public school system. It may look completely different than it looks now. And I've said this before, that we need to come up with a plan of our course of action to retain and to recruit new students. I think, based on my review of all of our board meetings, we've argued over policies. Tonight, we had disagreement on the disposal of Plainview and also East Arcadia School. We've talked about so many different things, but the folks that we rarely talk about are the students. Someone mentioned before about students and loving students and all of that, but we rarely get a chance to talk about the students. And I think that's probably, when you come in with your own agenda or you're prompted, then your judgment is definitely questioned. The authenticity of your vote, your credibility, all those things come into question. And we've said this before, that as a board that we would come together. I know we're not going to agree on everything, but there is a lot of bickering with the board members. The community has shared their viewpoint. I've apologized to students for behavior that wasn't becoming of who I aspire to be. And I've not seen other folks do the same thing. I think that this is a one-sided board, that folks are using numbers to the advantage, and they're not doing necessarily what is best for the district. They've made what I would think, or what could be, I guess, presumed as an alliance. And this is my plea to the other board members, again, if we could move past that and do what's right for the district, I think we will go a lot further. Just so that folks will be aware that a lot of times when I say things, someone else may say, just like Mr. Thomas said, or things in that sort. I'm not joined at the hip with anyone. I have my own mind, my own opinion. I read the same documents that you all do, so I have my own interpretation. So I want to make it very clear, there have been times that I voted against what Mr. Rhoda was in favor for. I voted against what Mr. Davis was in favor for because I voted for what I thought was right. But there are certain board members, I have never seen them vote against each other. That's very odd. There is no way that two people or three people can agree on everything all the time. There's no way. Not in that they're doing what's best. Even Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, who were in the New Testament, they all told their stories from their account of what happened from different perspectives. So there was a variation based on the eye of the beholder. But when folks vote the same way continuously, it definitely resonates differently in my mind. I want to do what's best. I want to do a good job at what I'm doing. But at the same, that means I'm going to ask a lot of questions to get understanding. And I hope I'm appealing or piercing folks' heart, that our hearts be circumcised, that all the bitterness and the coldness and nastiness that to be cut back. I will say this, I've said this numerous times, every time that we come into a board meeting and we pray, and when they say amen, that is a secret code for let's fight. Every time we pray, we fight afterwards. That to me is, I don't know if we're praying to a different God, to a different Jesus. I don't understand this for the life of me. And I don't want to be hard to get along with. I really don't. I don't. Life would be so much easier if we had these meetings, Chairman, over the course of 15 minutes. It would be easy for me. But the thing is that we have to do what's right. So I bid other board members that you vote. I know some folks are probably smirking, and I don't get offended by that, but there are a lot of things that need to change with our board. I've asked numerous times that we have a board, a board retreat, that we try to come up with different things. I do want to say thank you to the chairman. He did check on me. The last meeting, I had to be transported from home by ambulance. I was in the hospital for a few days. Ms. Brown, Dr. Atkinson came to my car. Ms. Brown checked on me. Mr. Davis actually checked on me. Some of the other board members didn't call, didn't send the email. Not that I was expecting them to, because I know their character by now. And so if I had received a telephone call, it probably would have took me by surprise. It probably would have sent me on the other side. So I don't take offense to that, because they don't owe that to me. But what they do owe is our students and our constituents to do the right thing. Thank you.
Mr. Edwards.
As the new school season starts, staff, the faculty, and the children, nothing but prayers. Hopefully it'll be very successful. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, I'll go into my board chair report. Spent some time with, principals, last week, kind of kicking off the new year. Was at Mr. Davis and I myself, participated in the new hire orientation, breakfast this morning. I want to thank, everybody that was involved in that and getting that completed. It's always nice to see that we got folks that want to come and be a part of Bladen County Schools, and be a part of the positive that they were generating in this school system. I think Friday morning we have all call at the Bladen Community College. It's always a good time to come out and see everybody, every employee inside the school system. Talk to folks, be visible, those types of things, as we should be as board members. It's obviously a lot of things are changing. We talked a lot about financial concerns tonight, and getting support from our county commissioners as we need that. And hopefully we'll get some movement in that direction. I just want to make a comment on board, on how we act in our meetings. Mr. Thomas, I hear you loud and clear of what you're saying. My only concern is we should be making inappropriate comments or making statements that are attacking each other inside the boardrooms, either closed or out here. We're all professionals here. We're all elected officials here, and when we stoop to that level, it shows a sign of immaturity and unprofessionalism when we talk about Bladen County Schools and the children and the faculty. We are a representation of our school system and of our constituents, and when we go in a different direction, it shows that maybe we're not concerned about the schools or about the staff or about the children inside of our schools. So I appreciate what everybody does. I appreciate all the feedback, all the positive. I think sports is kicking off, volleyball, lots going on in soccer. We go back to school on the 24th, is that correct, sir? We got open houses coming up fast and furious here. We're all going to get calls about traffic patterns at middle schools and different things. We just ask that everybody be patient. In my time of growing up, I rode a school bus. There's probably a handful of kids that don't ride school buses anymore. We can make it happen. Just put them on a school bus. But at the end of the day, be patient, be kind, and be observant, and let's be safe, and prayers for everyone. And I hope everybody has a wonderful school year. Dr. Atkinson.
Thank you, Chairman Singletary, board members. Just a few things for you all tonight. Our staff are returned on optional work days. Required work days begin on Thursday. Our early college is our first group of students coming back. That's next Monday, the 17th. And then our traditional schools will start on the 24th. We do have our convocation on Friday. It's our official kickoff for the school year. As a part of that, as one of the goals that we had talked about as a board too, we will be having Title IX training. Our board attorney will be doing that for us as a part of that convocation. We'll also be doing some other things. We have a video message from State Superintendent Mo Green. We'll be showing, and we'll be able to do some things with our faculty and staff to kick off the official year. That does begin at 8:30 at Bladen Community College. The Title IX training will start at approximately 10 o'clock. And so we're looking forward to a good day there. The open houses for all of our schools, our freshman orientation is taking place on Tuesday the 18th, but all schools will have open house on the 20th, except for the early college, and those are on a rotating basis. And so, definitely invite you all to come out as your schedule allows for that. Also, September 17th, the School Board Association has their lead meetings. This is the regional groups. The one for us, it will be held in Cumberland County on the 17th from 2 to 5. If you're interested in attending that, it's a nominal registration fee. If you'll let Ms. Larner know, we can get registered for that. That will be at the boardroom there in Cumberland County for about 3 hours. Also, the registration, I think, is opening now for the School Boards Association Conference. That'll be in Greensboro, November the 9th through the 11th. The 11th is a holiday. That's the final day. Typically, that last day is a general session and dismissal. Next month, we will need to select delegates to serve at the conference. And so I'll try to find out from Ms. Ramona how many slots we'll have for this year. And so if you all come prepared to do nominations for delegates for School Board Association, we'll get those selected next month and get those sent up. Our board meeting for September, we'll be back a week. It's on our schedule for the 21st. Admin will be at the School Administrators Association Law Symposium. So our regular scheduled board meeting will be on the 21st in the month of September versus the 14th. So please make note of that. Do want to thank the board for your support tonight and the extension of the contract. And I know that for me personally, I was shared over my daughter to graduate school. And as a product of Bladen County Schools, I'm excited for her to go. It's going to be tough to move her in this weekend as a father and leave her at school. But I will say that, I'm definitely proud that she had an opportunity to come through a system where we have fine educators. And I told our folks today that are new that they couldn't join a more finer system. Do appreciate the board's support. You have my commitment over the next years as we continue to work together and to improve. I think that'd be important for us to do that together. Even though we have trials and tribulations like budgets and things that get in the way, educators have always been synonymous of being able to do more with less. And so I think we have some great folks, and I'd put our folks up against anyone. I do thank you for your support and continuing that leadership here in Bladen County. This is home. I want what's best for home. And I'm not perfect by any means. I'll be the first person to say that. But I think that if we can work together, work on our strengths, everybody address their areas of improvement, and we work together, we can become a system that's based on continuous improvement, and that's from all of us. And so thank you for your support in that tonight, and you do have my continued commitment to serve in this capacity, to do the best that we can. Number one, as it is our children, they are our why, they are our number one. And so if we keep them first and foremost in all that we do and all that we say, and make our best efforts for them, I think we can all peel our heads at night saying we've done what's best for children. And that's number one. And our staff becomes a byproduct of that. If we do what's best for kids, we're empowering our staff to do the same thing. And so I do appreciate you all for your support. Looking forward to a great academic year. With that being said, I think that will conclude what I need to share with you all for tonight. Again, thank you for your support. I look forward to a wonderful year. Invite you to have a chance to come out and be a part of Convocation. Please do. Or in our open houses or our first day of school. Schools would love to see if you have a chance to do that. So we appreciate it so much.
At this time, I entertain a motion to adjourn. I have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor by signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed. We are adjourned. Thank you.